Hello, everyone. Mr. Overon here, and today I am talking about Book of Shadows, what they are, and if you need one, and so on and so forth. So, just to get started, a Book of Shadows is a book of spells that is very personalized to the person who is writing it, or it's a very individualized book of spells, recipes, rituals, so on and so forth, that is traditionally passed down from one person to another person. Back in the old days, before witchcraft was really accepted, a Book of Shadows was something that was just that. It was kept hidden in the dark, and it was um, like a collective knowledge base of everyone's information. Back before people really started learning how to read and write, traditionally it would just be one person that had this book, and everyone else would add their collective knowledge into it. As reading and writing became a little bit more popular, you would still have one centralized book that other people would copy from, so in that way the knowledge would never be lost. And then each person would add their own bit of information into it. Now, Book of Shadows have been known by many, many different names throughout the millennia. It's been known as the Book of Shadows, Book of Light, Book of Secrets, Grand Grimoire, Grimoires, uh, recipe books, fixins, all different kinds of things. But essentially, what it is it's a wise person's book of knowledge. And so, um, in Wicca and witchcraft and stuff like that, we all typically have a Book of Shadows. However, you don't have to have a Book of Shadows or a spell book to be a witch, especially nowadays with technology being the way that it is. I know a lot of people who are keeping digital Book of Shadows and just keeping a PDF on their cell phones with like all their spells or their go-to stuff and whatever else. And it's completely totally up to you how you want to do it. For me, I personally like the effect of physically writing the spell into a book, having the book displayed on one of my shelves, being able to go to that tome and like open it up and like, okay, on this page I know that a love spell is going to be here, or if I go to this page I know that a banishing is going to be here, or a curse, or whatever else. Now, with your Book of Shadows, it is a direct reflection of who you are as a person. So, you may have heard of the terms white witchcraft, green witchcraft, so on and so forth. Well, if I was to assign a color to myself, it would be gray. I'm a gray witch. I practice both black magic and white magic. So, in my personal spell book, you will see that reflected time and time again. Like, there will be white witchcraft, and then there'll be green witchcraft, which is nature or earth magic. Then you'll see a couple of blessings, a couple of curses, a couple of healing spells, and so on and so forth. Um, Now, with my particular book, it's 60-40. 60% of it I wrote, 40% of it is outside knowledge. By outside knowledge, that means it's stuff that other people have told me, or that they have given me, or that I found on websites, or through my own research and things like that, that I've added into my book. Now, there's no right or wrong way to make your Book of Shadows. You don't have to have some fancy leather-bound book, um, even though I do, and that's what my personal book is, and I'll show you that here in a minute. But when I first started off, I started off with a 3-ring binder, and then every year when I would do back to school shopping, I would go and get like 30 or 40 of those like 10-cent spiral spiral bound notebooks. And so it wasn't until I was 17, 18 that my parents actually bought me my very first spell book for my birthday. And so, like I said, you don't need something as elaborate as what I have here. This right here is my personal Book of Shadows. It is leather bound and hardwood. Well, that is what this is made out of: wood, leather, and parchment paper. This pentacle right here is a card decal that I happened to find at a New Age shop that I painted. And then on the back here is a 5-pointed leaf that I took to represent nature and the body in the outstretched position and all that other stuff. On the inside, there's papyrus and parchment paper. So like my very first page here is papyrus that was actually given to me from a teacher who went to Egypt and brought me back papyrus because they knew that I was into witchcraft and writing spells and everything. So yeah, this is all my handiwork. Parchment paper with dragon blood sigils on it and things like that. So there's really no right or wrong way to put your book together. Like I said, it's completely up to you, and it's a personal reflection of who you are and what your energy and stuff represents. Now, I know in the past people have charged their Books of Shadows, and by charging I mean putting their own energy into it and things like that. So a spell book is something that is very unique to the person and a very personable thing also. Now traditionally in the as a family member would die, their book would be passed on to their children, and so on and so forth. Currently, right now, at the age of 36, I don't have children, so I will hopefully eventually pass this down to my niece. Otherwise, I'm probably going to end up being buried with it, which would be a shame to see something like this be buried. Or I may donate it to the Museum of Witches and Witchcraft in Salem. Just something, because I want this to continue on, and I think that my niece would be the only person who could and would appreciate it. So yeah, but getting back, your Book of Shadows is a very personal thing. I've seen them made from scrapbooks where people go all out in decorating the pages to simplistic 3-ring binders. So it all really depends on you as a person. And you don't have to have a big book like this. As a matter of fact, this isn't my only Book of Shadows. I have probably 12 others laying around. And nowadays you can find these really cool little blank drawing books that are hardbound, and they're black. Sometimes they're this big, sometimes they're this big. You can pick them up at Walmart or Michael's or Joann's or any of those other places, and they're just blank on the inside. Make perfect spell books. Typically run you about $15. You can even hop on eBay and find them with like patterns on the front of them. Like I have one that has a Celtic triangle on it, and I have another one that says Book of Shadows across it and gold leafing and stuff like that. So however you decide to keep your recipes or your spells or whatever you want to call them, that's up to you. But with the Book of Shadows, just know that there is no right way or wrong way to put one together. It's all about you as a witch and how you want to do things. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video off. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them in the comment section below. If you have any questions that you would like to ask me privately, please shoot me an email to mroveron@gmail.com. That's MROVERON@gmail.com. And if you would like a personal reading or anything like that, head over to the website mroveron.com. That's MROVERON.com, and check me out over there. And if you have any future suggestions for videos, I would really like to hear about them. So leave those in the comment section below, and I will talk to you all later. Blessed be.